Hello and welcome to my Ask the Attorney Anything live session. I am so happy to see everybody here, and I see I already have lots and lots of questions. So this is my opportunity to just kind of do an open forum. I basically have no agenda other than to try to answer questions while I'm here live with you guys. So I'm so happy to see all of you here. I know that you're dealing with narcissists and you're trying to figure out a way to navigate, negotiate your way out of this situation. And I am committed to bringing you the best resources and as much as I can so that you have access to information that is normally very difficult to get access to or very expensive to get access to. Plus the fact 99.9% of lawyers do not understand narcissism. So you're probably having to educate your lawyer as well. I often tell people, yes, you do need a good lawyer, but please use your lawyer as part of your strategy, not just thinking that, you're going to arrive on their doorstep and they're just going to do everything for you, because many people have spent lots and lots of money and are still nowhere. So use the information that I give you, use the strategies in my videos and in my Slay program and in my resources so that you can actually get somewhere. Because without having a super strong strategy and leverage and anticipating what the narcissist is going to do and focusing on you and your position in your case, you will be eaten alive. So I'm so glad to see all of you here. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, now is a great time to do that. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and that way you'll get notified when I do these forums and when I go live and try to answer as many questions as I can. And I really don't have the capacity to answer individual questions via email or anything like that anymore. I literally get thousands of inquiries a week, probably. My team tries to answer as many as they can, but this is really the best forum. Or in my free webinar, please sign up for my free webinar and come to that. Or through my coaching programs. Those are really the best places to get access to information from me. So I would love to know where you are all calling in from or watching from. I'm like old school. I think of like the radio shows, like calling in, right? So let me know in the chat where you guys are all tuning in from. I am here in beautiful California, where I've basically been since the beginning of COVID. And I have a question here from Natalie, who's asking about a strategy for cross-examination of a narcissist. So maybe a little technical of a question, but cross-examination, there's a whole art to cross-examination. First of all, there's one basic rule which everybody should know, and that is that cross-examination is you're not allowed to expand beyond the scope of direct examination. So you have your case, and then your the opponent, whoever it is, whether it's your soon-to-be ex-spouse or if it's somebody else that you're in a case with, that side will also have an opportunity to present their case. And the petitioner, whoever that is, will get to present their case first, and then the defendant presents their case next. Some people think that there's an advantage to being the one who can present first. I don't necessarily think that. Sometimes I feel like going last is an advantage because you got to hear what the petitioner's case said. It gives you an opportunity to kind of clean up whatever you need to clean up. And also it's the freshest in the judge's mind, but it really doesn't matter. But as far as cross-examination, it comes after direct examination. So let's just say that you've been the one who your lawyer will ask you questions under direct. And then the other lawyer will ask the questions of you on cross-examination. So you sat there, you told your story to your lawyer, then the other lawyer gets to come along and try to discredit whatever it is that you said, or poke holes at your case, or poke holes at your testimony, or show that it's that you lied, or that there was some part of what you said that didn't line up with what you said before. Maybe it's something that you said in a deposition or something like that. So strategy for cross-examination, whether it's a narcissist or whoever, it's going to be to discredit what they said on direct examination. That's kind of a basic thing. On direct examination, you're not allowed to lead. You can't ask leading questions, which a leading question would be something like, isn't it true that you always show up at the school at the same time, or something like that, because you're basically just telling them what you want the answer to be. So on direct examination, you have to ask questions like, what is your regular schedule? And it has to be much more open-ended. On cross-examination, you can ask leading questions. So the questions will be something like, isn't it true that, something like that. You really kind of want the best strategy I can give you for cross-examination is you want to know what the answer is going to be, and you want to keep their answers as brief as possible. So you want them to be like yes or no answers, and you want to know already what the answer is going to be. You're basically boxing them into a position that makes them look bad. You're trying to expose them. And that's basically it. Kind of cross-examination in a nutshell. Many lawyers do like entire weekend seminars on cross-examination. There's entire books written on it. So that's kind of my quick answer on strategy for cross-examination. The one thing I will say about direct or cross is you want to be prepared. So have your lawyer make sure to prepare you. So do a mock direct examination and a mock cross-examination of yourself as well, so that you aren't caught not knowing what to say, if possible. At least try to take as much of the unknown out of it as you possibly can. So that's that question, Natalie. So hi, Mayrick from England, south of London. I love my UK followers, and I see Amanda from Nashville and Kurt from Los Angeles. And Brian from the UK as well. So let me see if I can answer a couple more questions for you. Let's see. Becky says, thank you, Rebecca, for all your videos and live chats. I've learned so much. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you're here. And let me see if I can answer another question. I have a clean, clear prenup, but the narc's lawyer is saying these things have a shelf life. I never heard that before. A contract is a contract. I don't think that's true. I think that how you attack a prenup is how you attack a prenup. So whatever the laws are in your particular state or jurisdiction, as far as attacking a prenup are, then those are the laws. Certainly any kind of contract defense that you might have is always available, like duress, coercion, fraud, incapacity, impossibility, all of your regular defenses to a contract would be available. But oftentimes in certain states, there's additional ones. You want to make sure that you each had your own counsel if possible. You didn't sign the prenup at the back of the church as you were walking up the aisle. Nobody was drunk or under the age of 18 or, withheld information about your finances, things like that. So, but as far as a shelf life, I've never heard that term before. So I think that somebody's trying to scare you in that particular situation. And narcs lawyers, and many times lawyers are narcs themselves as well. They say things to try to get an edge over people and try to scare them, and that sort of thing. So I've never heard that term, but anyway, let's see if I can answer a couple more questions here. Let's see. Crimson King, my ex stole my kids. I was a mess when we split up, like suicidal. My kids saw me at my worst. How do I proceed to try to get my kids back into my life? They're 19 and 21. That's a tough question because, courts can order things. So remember that the only person that has any power to order people to do anything is a judge. No one else. No lawyers, there's no divorce fairies in people's living rooms that stop people from acting terrible or stop them from violating a marital settlement agreement or parenting plan. So the only way that you can get these things enforced is through the judge. And the only thing the judge can do is enforce a law or a statute or a contract. So when your children are already 19 and 21, you there's really nothing more anybody could do, because when they're little and there's a parenting plan, you can file a motion to enforce the parenting plan, and then the court can order the other parent to make you have access to them. And so but once they've aged out, once they've emancipated and they're adults, there's no grounds to order anyone to make them see you or you see them. So unfortunately, those are the tough situations. I mean, try getting them into some sort of therapy or something like that. That's what I would, recommend. And, try not giving up. I mean, it's tough. That's a tough one. So Stacy is saying, or is it Stacy who's saying, I'm always reacting? Oh, Mayrick. I'm always reacting to the baiting by the ex. Highly recommend that you come to my free webinar, the 3 must-have secrets to communicating with a narcissist. I give you way, way more content than what I can deliver here. But, all kinds of ways and strategies is what I give you on how to create boundaries and how to just not take that bait so that you're not so emotionally driven and connected. Because getting yourself detached emotionally, at least while you're interacting, is going to be the key to starting to shift that dynamic with that narcissist and start taking control of the situation. So highly recommend that you come to my webinar on that, but starting to detach so that while you're actually interacting with that person, you're not sucked into the web of their craziness. Cry in the shower, scream into your pillow, do what you need to do when you're not with that person. But when you're with that person, you need to be cool, calm, collected. You want to have the one with the superior poise, because that will actually start to make them become unraveled, because they want you to be in the mud with them. That's the whole goal of the whole thing. They want to be the one that's more in control than you are. So that's kind of a brief answer, but really great advice for you on that. Okay, so let's see. I should see if I can answer maybe one more question. Karen says, hey, Rebecca from the UK, you're brilliant. Thank you. I'm so glad that you're here. Really, it's not about me. It's about you. And it's about you getting out of these relationships. I mean, somebody's saying, how do I deal with a covert narc? That's my sister. Yeah. I mean, covert narcs are terrible. And you know, my husband and I have one that's a extended family member, and we've had to go no contact. I mean, that's the only thing you really can do. If you want to stay in communication with that person, come to my webinar on the 3 must-have secrets to communicating with a narcissist. That will help you so much too. I mean, I send you light because covert narcs are my personal, the ones that I hate the most, because I've had to deal with a couple of them in my personal life. And I know that they're heinous, awful, toxic, and difficult. So I send you light with that situation. It's especially hard and painful when it's a family member like that. I know it's tough. So, all right. Well, thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Ask the Attorney Anything. I try to come to you live every Tuesday and Thursday at noon Pacific time. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a like and share it if you feel that the information is going to be something that's helpful or useful to people. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, now's a good time to do that. Subscribe and hit the notification bell, and that way when I do go live, you'll get notified right away. And you know, if you haven't gotten my free Crush My Negotiation prep worksheet, do that. winmynegotiation.com is the URL for that. And come to my free webinar. I'd love to see you there. I'm so glad that you're here. If you need additional support and you haven't joined my free private Facebook group, you can definitely do that too. And we'll make sure that links are below to all of these things. So thank you so much for joining me on this edition of Ask the Attorney Anything. I'm so glad that you're here, because here is where you're going to get step-by-step guidance, not just here's what a narcissist is, but actually here's how to get out of this situation in a way that you feel whole, complete, and not completely wrung out. So thank you so much. I send you all light, love, and strength and courage. And I'll see you again in the next video.